Hello, today we'll be focusing on the function of the nephron, or the functional unit within the kidney. So the nephron is really important when it comes to determining the concentration of our urine and everything like that. Okay, so what I've drawn here is an extended version of our nephron tubules, but you have to remember that within our actual kidneys, these nephron tubes tend to be intertwined with one another, so they're really close. So, for an example, this tube and this tube will actually be right next to each other, kind of like neighbors in a sense. And today we'll be breaking down the nephron into certain segments and determining how urine is made within the body. Okay, alright, so starting right here, we have something called the Bowmans Capsule. And within the Bowmans Capsule, you have the glomerulus. Now, the glomerulus is a sac that contains your afferent arteriole. Bowmans Capsule. And here you have your glomerulus. Okay, so it's at your glomerulus and your Bowmans capsule where your afferent arteriole is bringing blood to the entire nephron. Now, it's this blood that is filtrated into the nephron, so your body's waste or excess fluids or anything else will be entering the nephron at this stage. Okay, so the filtrate enters this next segment known as the proximal tubule. And it's at the proximal tubule that you'll be reabsorbing some of the important molecules that you don't want to get rid of, such as amino acids, sugars, and also a majority of your water and salts that were accidentally filtrated into the nephron. So you can have amino acids and sugars reabsorbed back into your body. And then after the proximal tubule, your filtrate enters this next segment, which overall is called the loop of Henle. But we'll be breaking down this loop of Henle into three important components. This first segment right here is known as the descending limb. It's at this descending limb that aquaporin channels form around the plasma membrane of the tubule and help transport water out of your filtrate and become reabsorbed back into your body. Okay, so you can have water transported out. Okay, so that overall effect will increase the osmolarity of the filtrate inside your loop of Henle. Okay, so it keeps traveling down, and eventually it hits this segment known as the thin ascending limb. And it's here, the thin ascending limb, that you have salts being passively transported out of your filtrate. And then you travel upwards more, and the next and last segment of the loop of Henle is known as the thick ascending limb. It's here at the thick ascending limb that you have salts being actively transported out of your filtrate. So, more sodium chloride. Okay, so once it's bypassed the entire loop of Henle, it hits another tubule part that is very similar to the proximal tube. In this case, this part is known as the distal tubule. It's here at the distal tubule that you can have, once again, more reabsorption of salt or waters. However, unlike the proximal tubule, the distal tubule can be under the influence of different hormones, such as ADH or angiotensinogen. So you can have salts and waters either coming in or going out of the distal tubule portion. Alright, and this last segment of the nephron is known as the collecting duct. Similar to the distal tubule, it's at the collecting duct where hormones can once again extend their influence and either cause water, sodium chloride, or even urea to go in or out of the filtrate. And it's here at the end of the collecting duct that you have the final product of your urine or your finished concentration filtrate. And that's basically how your nephron functions.